Har, Bashar.
All right. Are you a pirate?
I've always wanted to say that, so I thought I'd take this opportunity.
Thank you. Ahoy, matey.
Aye, laddie. I've come out from behind the camera to ask you this question today because your subject matter seems particularly attuned to the primary issue of my life.
All right. Such as?
Well, I am told by another channeled entity who goes by the name Friend, whom I believe you know,
Yes.
that I came into this life with what's known as the chironic wound.
All right.
Is this something you're familiar with?
We understand it by different nomenclatures, yes.
Okay. Another terminology that applies to this would be wounded healer.
Yes.
And my understanding of this is that the idea of the chironic wound is this story, which I guess comes out of Greek mythology.
Yes.
Chiron was a centaur who was an immortal being, and he was a master healer and master herbologist.
Yes.
And according to the version of the story that I heard, Zeus asked him to make the perfect poison,
Yes.
which would be a poison which had no antidote
All right.
and which was invariably fatal.
Yes.
And somehow Chiron got himself poisoned by his own perfect poison.
All right.
Chiron, being an immortal being, of course, could not die.
However,
Well, he apparently, according to this version of the story,
Yes.
attempted to heal himself from this.
Yes.
He couldn't die, so he was in the misery of the poison.
yes.
And he couldn't, even though he was a master healer, could not come up with an antidote because it was a perfect poison. So it was between the proverbial rock and a hard place.
Yes. What we have also called the watermelon seed phenomenon.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
When you squeeze a watermelon seed between two fingers to the point where it has no choice but to go in a new direction by shooting out from between them.
Okay, right.
Can't go up, can't go down, must go this way. And this is also what connects to this particular mythology.
Okay.
Can't go this way, can't go that way, must go that way.
Okay. Well,
Must move in a new direction to survive
all right.
and heal.
The manifestation of this in my life
Yes.
can be characterized by the following statement.
Yes.
No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try or work or endeavor, I cannot catch a break. I cannot succeed. I cannot be effective in the realization of my dreams. And I have very, very big dreams.
All right. Maybe you should reduce the scope of the dreams a little bit.
I don't want to,
Why not?
because I'm not interested in a second choice, a second place, a fallback position.
I am not calling it a fallback position.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm doing a kind of shadow version of my dreams.
Yes,
I make videos.
I understand.
And, yes. And what I really feel that I want to be doing is writing and directing major motion pictures.
All right.
Okay, I make video stuff, so it's definitely a reflection of that kind of activity.
All
but
right.
not on the scale that I want to do it.
Understood.
Not in the subject matter that I want to do.
Understood. Nevertheless, it is of the same ilk and can be treated with the same energy so as to allow that as a seed to expand into something bigger.
Okay, well, let me focus my question a little bit differently. Maybe,
All right.
maybe your response will be the same and maybe not.
We'll see.
We will indeed, dude.
All right.
Well, you said you were talking earlier about the circuit breaker, the three
Yes.
sentences, and you were talking about an overriding belief.
Yes.
And the chironic wound is kind of like an overriding belief.
Yes.
So overriding that even the efforts that I make to change my core beliefs fail.
Then that's the overriding belief.
Well, the overriding belief is that no matter what I do, I can't succeed.
Yes.
And so if that applies to my efforts to change core beliefs, I'm unable to change core beliefs too, which means I'm unable to change the chironic wound belief.
And how does it serve you to believe that that can't be changed?
I don't know. I ask myself almost every day, what was I thinking when I came to this life with this belief as a basis of my life story? What the hell was I thinking?
All right, but it's not about what you were thinking, it's about how does it serve you to hold on to it.
Well, I don't have an answer for that.
All right.
I mean,
You do need to explore that particular avenue, though.
Well, I have looked at it, and I mean, I recognize the fact that there's all manner of endeavor and exploration that is valid here in this reality, and
Yes.
this is probably the only reality where a belief and life story of that nature could be explored and really, really understood.
All right.
And I know that many people explore far more devastating life stories than I have. I mean, I still have a roof over my head, although I'm on the brink of homelessness all the time, but
On the brink.
yeah, I mean, I'm
The brink.
I get to the point
The
of
brink.
the brink of destitution.
The brink
Yes, the brink of
of.
destitution.
The brink of.
My word is destitution.
The brink of.
I don't have an answer for that. Other
Yes,
than my
you
word.
do. What is the name of your story?
Oh, I have that. The brink of tomorrow. Sure.
The brink of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes. Your answer lies there.
Okay, but see, it's not instructive to me.
No, because of the way you are looking at it.
Well, certainly I know that I have more looking at to do, and that's what I'm trying to do.
It's not
Yes.
more looking, it's different looking
Okay.
that is required.
Well, if I do different looking, that requires more looking than I've already done.
Yes,
Okay, so
but not more of the same.
well, I would say that's true because so far my looking thus far has not been effective. I haven't come up with an answer. I'm
Correct.
still looking. That's why I'm asking this
So it
question.
needs to be a different kind of looking, a different way of looking at the situation than you
Okay.
have been.
Oh, I'm open to suggestion.
All right. Well, brink of tomorrow was one suggestion, but obviously not strong enough for the way you are looking at it.
Okay, well, one way to interpret that phrase, now, of course, that's the title of my novel, but
Yes,
I have other stories, of course, that I'm interested in producing.
that's fine, but we're not talking about them.
Right. That particular one, let's say we use that as a trigger for this answer.
Yes.
It suggests that I wait for tomorrow. Well, that's not exactly satisfying.
The character in the story
Right?
has a reason for hiding
Yes.
from the public.
Right.
There is no accident that you structured the story the way you did. Because there are elements, even though not the same elements, there are elements of the character situation that mirror what you feel about yourself or what you feel others will feel about you if you do in fact go public in the way you wish to.
I have no doubt of that.
All right. Well, a big clue lies there then. And looking at yourself differently in the way that it is achieved at the end of your story is a key for you to begin a new story for yourself. So that you do not have the fear that others will see you in the way that you fear they might if you go public.
You see, I don't feel that fear myself. I'm not in touch with that.
I know you're not in touch with it. But the reason that you put that story in words is so you could be in the easiest way for you intellectually. You put it all out right in front of you, right in front of your face, so you could read it and absorb it in the way that you're used to looking at things intellectually.
Okay.
So it's all there. You created your own mythology, your own chironic story for you to learn from. In really looking at that story and putting yourself in the main character's position metaphorically, you will learn a lot about what you need to do to look at yourself differently, or look at how you think the world will look at you differently.
Well, what you're saying is not totally ringing true to me, because
All right.
I mean, his affliction was really serious, and it was a very
Yours is too. It's just not the same kind.
well, it's not physical.
I said it wasn't the same kind.
Yeah. And I
But it is nonetheless a metaphor for how you believe people may react to you.
well, I don't see it.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
That's why you really need to look deeper into the story.
I don't believe that looking into the story will reveal what is in me that I'm.
And so you're not even willing to give it a shot.
Not a matter of not being willing, I just don't see it.
You don't believe it, you said.
I don't.
How about do believe it and see what happens if you believe it might actually help you? If you read the story in the belief it might actually reveal something to you, it will. If you read the story not believing it will reveal anything to you about the situation, of course, it won't.
Well,
This is your own chironic paradox.
I conceived this story over 2 decades ago, and I
Yes.
kind of have the feeling that I've pretty much explored the darn thing.
Obviously not all the way through, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Except that I conceive it as possible that you have taken this particular tangent or this particular approach and it not necessarily applying as thoroughly to me as you'd like to think it is.
All right. You're entitled to believe that.
Okay. It's just, I mean, I'll certainly look into it. It's very difficult for me to see that I have the problem that he had, because I don't have the physical problem.
So you cannot relate the physical metaphor to the idea of a belief system or emotional one. The
That's
fear
right.
of how people will see you.
Well, one of the clues to the difference is the fact that I'm sitting here in front of a bunch of people,
Yes.
talking in a broad manner, and I have done public speaking, so I do put myself in front of people.
Yes.
It's not the
But
same
you are
thing at
talking
all.
about putting yourself in front of people on a different scale. He put himself in front of people in a sense by at least allowing them to hear his voice.
Yes.
And that's what this is equivalent to for you. But you're talking about the equivalent of allowing himself to be seen in public, which is the idea you're talking about the grander vision you have of how you wish the public to see you. That's
Yeah.
the equivalency.
I'm not getting it. So let me just
All right.
shift gears for a second.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Go back to the chironic wound.
All right.
As I understand that story,
Yes.
the resolution for Chiron was that Zeus took pity on him, if you will,
Yes.
and elevated him to the level of a god,
All right.
and thereby relieved him of his affliction.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, okay, if I have this chironic wound deal,
Yes.
I don't have a Zeus to
Yes,
come
you
to
do.
my-
Yes, you do.
Okay, where is Zeus? Who is
You are.
Zeus?
You are Zeus.
Ah, but if I have the belief that no matter what I do,
Yes.
I can't be effective in my efforts, then I can't even be effective as my own Zeus.
That's a belief.
Well,
You have to examine why you have the belief that you cannot be effective as your own Zeus.
I think I have that belief because I came in wanting to explore it, and I so far have not come up with the key to resolving it.
Remember when we said in the past that the whole idea of what is called on your planet karmic debt is simply the realization that karma is self-imposed, and the realization that karma is self-imposed completely erases the concept of karmic debt.
I do recall that.
That applies here. The idea that you may have come in with the concept of the chironic wound or the so-called karmic debt, all it really requires is your ability to understand that if it is self-imposed, then you can be your own Zeus and realize it has nothing to do with you anymore as soon as you say it doesn't. As soon as you really believe it doesn't.
I understand, and I have been through that very train of thought numerous times.
Train of thought is not the same as really holding the belief.
Well, I understand that as well. My understanding of it is intellectual. I understand it very well intellectually.
I know.
Getting it to be understood emotionally and viscerally and at the belief level, that's where the problem comes in, because it's
Yes.
a vicious cycle of
Yes.
belief that I can't do it, and therefore that belief reinforces my inability to put that belief aside, to change
right.
that belief. It's
All
incredibly
right.
frustrating and
All right.
discouraging.
Well, one of the reasons we provided, the tool we provided today, is to see if it will help with situations like this in many of you. So apply the idea of the expanded equation over time and see if it starts breaking down the walls of the belief that you believe is holding you back.
I do intend to do that. That's
All right.
one of the things I intended to do with that. So one aspect of my question is,
Yes.
what would you suggest, since you structured that circuit breaker
Yes.
to contain emotions in those blanks?
Yes.
This is not so much an emotion but a belief. How would you suggest
But
that I
the
put
belief generates the emotions of frustration that you express.
But I think that if I just put frustration in there, it's not going to get to this core belief represented by the chironic wound. I'm thinking there's probably something else that I can put into that blank.
What do you think should be there?
Maybe just a restatement of the chironic wound. I mean,
If you wish,
I mean,
you can give it a shot.
yeah.
But usually, the idea is that when you feel the emotion that stems from the belief, there is then an active resonance
Yeah.
that will actually carry through the rest of the equation and bring you back to a place where you may have better insight into what the originating belief is of the vibrational emotion to begin with.
So I can impose upon the word frustration, for instance, is frustration, discouragement, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I can impose upon that vibration the idea of the quote-unquote inability to change the belief
Yes.
structure, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yes. And then continue with the equation and see over time whether it begins to break down the walls or not.
Okay.
All
do
right.
that. I have one other question on a completely different
Yes.
subject, but related. You're talking about the State of the Union, and in your
Yes.
last evening with Bashar,
Yes.
you talked about the State of the Future Union, and
Yes.
you talked about the dissolving of borders between the United States and Mexico and Canada and so on.
Yes.
The people who are currently attempting to do that are doing it with the intention, I believe, of not freeing and enlightening humanity, but controlling and oppressing humanity in what they call their own New World Order
So,
via the Illuminati, etc.
So what?
Like that.
what's that got to do with your world?
Well, that structure is part of my world. For some
Is
reason,
it?
I've chosen to
Is
adopt
it?
that. Well, only from afar. Yeah,
Well,
it is, yeah,
then-
because it actually does impose upon me.
I see. Why do you choose to have it impose upon you then?
I think because I chose this world. I don't. That's another question. Why the hell would I choose a world that have that kind of oppression imposed upon me?
So that you can transform it.
Okay.
The idea being that the first step is to understand that even though you can observe it, it doesn't have to affect you. And that even though somebody may be doing something with a different intention than you would have, you can still use that to your advantage.
Okay. Well, I guess my question is, if the people who are currently attempting to dissolve the borders and impose the New World Order of suppression and oppression of humanity,
Yes.
if that is their intention, and yet the ultimate result is going to be an enlightened humanity,
Yes.
where the dissolved borders and the use of a non-use of money, I suppose, is the ultimate result. How does that transition from the
It doesn't. As we have already said many times, you're not changing the old system. You're implementing new systems that are representative of another parallel reality to which you will take your consciousness. And eventually you will simply no longer experience the systems that are of the old reality, because that will be in another reality.
Well, okay, I don't know. That may answer my question, but it doesn't seem like it does at this point. Right now, there is an effort afoot by the architects of the New World Order to impose this New World Order.
Do you enjoy speaking like a victim?
No, I'm just describing the
No,
world.
no. That's denial.
I don't,
Listen to yourself.
no, I'm just describing the world that I find myself in.
Listen
Do
to
realize that I am
yourself.
creating this reality,
Listen to yourself.
but it's a shared reality.
I understand, but you are using words like impose upon me, which
No,
implies
I-
you believe you are being affected by it in
No,
a negative
didn't-
way.
I didn't say it's imposed upon me. I said it's imposed upon our society.
But you're the one speaking.
I'm not the society.
Yes, you are.
Well,
You are a member of society.
oh, I'm a member. Now that's a different story.
I see. So you like to split hairs.
I try to be semantically precise.
I believe you would do yourself a great service by being a little bit metaphorical.
Okay, let me establish some ground rules, if you will. I do understand that I create my reality. I do understand that I have chosen to create in concert with others, I believe, even though I really only know my own reality, this situation in which this New World Order is in process.
Yes.
I do realize that I'm creating it.
Yes.
I do believe that I'm creating it because I and the collective consciousness have chosen to explore this particular eventuality.
Yes.
And learn how to resolve this sort of thing.
All right.
Okay, so I understand that.
All right.
I'm not talking about the imposition of the New World Order from a perspective of not understanding that I'm creating it.
But that's not what I was addressing. I'm simply addressing your ability to recognize that even though you are part of a collective agreement in having that experience around you, that it still doesn't have to affect you in any way, shape, or form that you don't want it to.
I do understand that.
All right. Then you don't need to control things so tightly in order to get them to go in the direction you would prefer them to go into, which is what you're attempting to do. The idea of the semantic precision and the idea of having to set ground rules and guidelines often can be taken to extremes that represent the idea of exercising and imposing too much control on your own reality to allow it to breathe properly.
Then please don't take it to those extremes.
And I will not do so if you will also not do so.
I won't do so.
All right, but that's what you are doing.
Well, I was just, our language...
I don't mean in this conversation. That's what you're doing. You are attempting to control your reality in a way that is actually reminiscent of the way you are saying they are trying to control reality, even though you have a good intention and they may not. You are still imposing too rigid a structure on your reality to allow it to actually go where you would like it to go. You're trying to push it into place instead of allowing it to go where it is representative of your bigger self.
Believe me, if I could allow it to do that, I would be doing that.
Oh no.
This is one of the problems that I've encountered.
Yes.
The ability to allow it seems to I have not been able to allow it.
I know, because you have beliefs that don't let you. That's what I'm saying.
I know that.
I know. And I know you know.
Yeah. That's the problem. I know I have these beliefs, and I have not been able to allow the beliefs to change.
That's perhaps because you haven't figured out exactly what they are yet. When you identify them clearly, you will let them go. And ideally, as with many other things, the tool we have talked about today will allow you to begin to do that.
Yeah.
But it takes identifying the belief clearly. Once you've identified it, you will let it go. But you haven't identified it yet.
Wow, because I have several pages of lists of various statements of a whole variety of beliefs that I believe these statements reflect accurately what I'm creating in my life.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Please do.
Do you believe that if you can identify it, you can let it go?
I have the conscious belief that quote unquote should
stop.
Okay.
You are being too circumspect, and that's part of the problem.
Well, let me put it this way.
No. That's part of the problem. Let me put it this way. No, that's part of the problem. Don't put it another way. Don't rephrase it. Don't box it into a specific thing that your mind feels satisfied with. Don't put it another way. Allow yourself the freedom to insist for yourself that it needs to be looked at in a particular way that may be uncomfortable for your mind to grasp. That's when you will really make progress.
I don't have any trouble with that. But you see, 20 years ago...
So you say.
I thought that actually more than 20 years, 30 years ago, I thought that my dreams would just automatically come to realization.
Yes.
And I've been surprised every time that barriers have cropped up, and I realize that I'm creating the barriers myself and that they are the result of my beliefs.
Yes.
I have been surprised to discover that there's this barrier based on a belief. I thought that my beliefs were all attuned to my dreams coming to fruition.
And how did you feel when you found out they weren't?
Discouraged.
Thank you.
Frustrated.
Thank you. Take that feeling and put it in the tool I gave you today. That's the feeling you want to put in the blank space. Discouraged.
Like I said, I will do that.
All right.
That's the intention that I have, and I will do that.
That's it then.
Okay.
That's all that's necessary. That's what you had to get in touch with. Was your initial feeling when you were surprised that it wasn't what you thought. When you felt discouraged, that's the primal state of vibration you need to put in the blank to allow yourself to neutralize it and find out what beliefs underlie that discouragement.
I do understand that.
Then do it. Then do it. Then do it. That's it.
I intend to.
All right, that's
No
it.
question about
That's it.
But I just wanted to say that I have been in touch with that feeling.
That's it. Stop explaining it. That's it. Get in touch with the discouragement and use it this way. That's it. Don't explain it further. You'll only take yourself out of it again.
No, I won't take myself out of it.
Don't say you won't take yourself out of it. Don't keep insisting that you have to have the last word. Just do it. That's all. Just do it.
Yes.
See if you can do that.
Yes, Massa.
All right. See if you can do it.
Oh, I can do it.
See if you can do it. Don't say it. See if you can do it. Just do it.
So you're setting.
Just do it. Stop talking about it. Just do it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How you doing?
Perfect. And you?
Good.
All right. Thank you.
I'm not sure what I want to talk about, so I'm just gonna
all right.
see what comes up. Actually, yeah, I kind of do have one thing I want to talk about.
Oh, all right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the how many members are in the Galactic Alliance?
Ours?
Yeah.
How many members, as in how many civilizations?
Yes.
452 at present.
452. And we're going to be the next
No.
inclusion into that?
No.
One of the next ones coming up?
One of the next ones, yes.
Okay.
There will be many more between now and the time you become an actual member.
Ah, I see. And are most of those societies like ours, like yours? Are they like, can you describe them?
We have described some of them from time to time. What would you like us to describe about them?
I don't know. They're physical forms. They're likes,
All right.
dislikes.
All right.
Or maybe actually, here's one question: what brings them all together? What is the common goal?
A perspective that all things are one, and a valuation of the differences that reflect to them all the ways that all that is can be. And an understanding of the synchronicity that results from that, and the expansion of awareness that results from interacting with all those other aspects.
I like that.
So do we.
Good. Okay.
Now, we are not saying that there are not different levels of understanding and different levels of expression even within the alliance. There are members that, because they themselves have a relatively unified society, are simply curious to join the alliance to see what effect it may have on them to do so. And they may have no other motivation than that. But at least in their own context, they are among themselves unified.
So it's really a group of people that have self-respect, self-love, and self-understanding that they are the one and the one is them.
Yes, and the appreciation of the difference that they are from all the other differences.
Okay.
And the difference that everyone else is from them.
Wow.
Now, there are beings, of course, that are somewhat similar to humans, but that's only about 15% of all the beings we have ever encountered.
Wow.
Most of the ones that are similar to humans in the sense that they have the two arms, the two legs, a head with the two eyes, are actually, for the most part, actually genetically related to you. Or, I'll be more precise, you are genetically related to them.
Ah.
Thereafter that 15%, most of the ones are not in any way, shape, or form what you would recognize as human.
Are they still corporeal?
Most of them. There are a few in the alliance who have the ability not to be.
As your society is getting into, right?
Yes.
I see.
But most of them have at least what you would recognize as the ability to project a corporeal aspect of some sort that most members can relate to.
Mm.
But for some, that's just a projection of convenience.
Wow, I just find that whole thing very fascinating.
Yes.
Very fascinating.
Now, one moment. One moment. We are filtering requests. One moment. Imagine, if you will, or if you can, that you have 4 legs, not 2, and that you are basically, to what you would consider to be now, upside down and backwards. In that your torso is hanging from the legs, not standing on top of them.
I see.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Now, imagine, if you will, that this being can move in any direction it wishes because its vision is 360 degrees. Do you understand?
Yeah.
One moment. Imagine, if you will, off of each of the 4 legs are also an extension that are manipulators, or what you would call hands, although they look nothing like yours. Which means the being can move in any direction it wishes to and still achieve the same degree of manipulation in its reality. In that sense, these beings have never developed the concept exactly that you recognize as quadrants, or north, south, east, and west. To them, it's all the same and based on the idea of radial patterns that only expand uniformly.
Wow.
Or contract uniformly. They do not have the same kind of sense of direction that you do.
Wow, I get it. Cool.
A very, 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 very loose vibrational translation of what they call themselves would be the Freen.
Say that again.
Freen.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. One moment. we have to explain your joke to them. They don't get it.
Well, tell them there's no offense.
No offense taken, they just don't get it.
Okay.
They do not have the mechanisms that you have that cause sneezing.
Okay.
Once, twice, or 3 times a day, depending upon the philosophy that is held in the society, all of their vacuoles open and a strong, stiff breeze is created to blow through them to clean their systems out. They do not sneeze as such, but they have 1, 2, or 3 blows a day. They understand it to that degree, but not the explosive nature, since they completely control the passage of the air through those vacuoles through a system of muscular diaphragms.
See, I've been trying to do that myself, and I can't get any control of passing my air, so it's a challenge.
All right. One moment.
You gotta try to explain that one to them.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
I'm just playing around.
I know that. They are a little bit confused, but that's all right. They simply understand that they have to chalk it up to the differences between us and are fascinated to some degree as they can understand it by what you are saying and realize through the images we are imparting to them telepathically that you look, of course, very different than they do. And actually they are wondering how you can even stand up.
I wonder that myself.